Hi, I'm Brian Daccord and I'm with John Carratu, and this is This Week at Stop It Goaltending U. Thank you very much for joining us. John, you've had some fun in the app this week. I don't know about you, but the Making Goalies documentary was awesome.
I think Brian Robinson's a star. He looked tremendous. His insight with the goaltenders, his communication with the goaltenders, just the relationship they've established, to see it all throughout the program. It was fantastic. It was phenomenal.
I really enjoyed it. I had a chance to be part of the editing process a little bit, and the whole time I was going, this is exactly what I was hoping for, what I was hoping from Making Goalies would be. And there were a couple takeaways from my end as a coach. I'm just sitting there and going, with Mitch Gibson, right, who's our draft pick, Washington Capitals, and I'm like, he interacted and asked questions and had some life and personality to him, and it's like when I was watching, that's the guy I want to coach. Like, I love that.
Well, that's developing the goalie and the coach relationship. You can exchange ideas. You feel comfortable. That's a good environment. It's a way both the coach and the goalie get better. They're communicating, and then they're just ideas are flowing, and that's the way it should be.
There's this one segment, and it was like, Robo was like, "Hey, what do you think?" And he's like, "Oh, I want to know what you think." They were kind of going back and forth, just feeding off each other. And I was like, "Yes, that's goalie coaching," because you don't want to just tell people what to do. There's not one way to do things. There's several ways to do things, and there's different approaches. But it's kind of like, if you're working with goalies and they're not giving it back to you, then it's kind of like a buzzkill.
Well, you're creating robots, not athletes.
Absolutely.
It gets boring after a while, and you can only work so much in mechanics. You got to get the flow. You got to train the athlete, and of course you train the person too. I mean, that's what's fun of building the coach relationship.
And the thing that was really interesting for me is watching Robo work with the video on the ice, with the video, dissecting, going over everything. I thought that was really impressive.
Well, not only him doing it, but the attention of the kids. The goalies that they wanted that feedback. And sometimes you get the verbal feedback, which is great, but sometimes you got to see yourself physically doing it and go, "That's exactly what he meant. I can pinpoint it right there. That's the exact spot. I might have missed a post seal or some movement or something." And the videos, it's a great way to teach.
Yeah, it's impressive all the way around. And then when Brian went to his development center in Marlborough, and the humor, right? Like, he was able to use humor and make it fun, but make his point at the same time.
Well, what I liked is, number one, his energy. I mean, he had put in a couple hours at Harvard already, his travel schedule, and he gets there and he's fresh, he's full of energy.
Right.
The humor.
He got on the ice and it was like, okay, let's go, showtime.
Not only the humor, but even with the younger kids, his attention to detail, just to make them a little bit better each time they come to him, it's tremendous. That's what makes Robo such a good coach.
Yeah.
He combines his humor, his technical knowledge, and it's just a total package when you work with Robo.
I think you saw it there. I think you saw when you're working with goalie coaches, right? And you get a young goalie coach, they just don't see it. Like, John and I we've been doing this forever.
Yes.
And you can't help but see it, right? It's like, if it's there, you're gonna be like, oh, it literally hurts my eyes now sometimes, because you just can't look past stuff. And you could tell Robo sees everything.
Oh, again, his attention to detail. And what I like about him is he corrects, but he doesn't overcorrect to the point where he's taking the fun out of it for the goaltender. Yeah. Every correction he's trying to make with the goaltenders, I've seen it when he coaches the summer camps. I've seen him with high-level goaltenders all the time. It's to make you a little bit better. We can't change it overnight, but we're going to make you a little bit better each time you come here. And by the end of the 8-week session, when you work with Robo, you're a pretty good goaltender.
Make it 1% increases, right?
Yep.
Just always getting better. So we're going to switch gears and talk about 1% increases.
Yeah.
Did you watch Goalie Eye Candy?
Oh my God! Oh my God!
That was really eye candy. So we're talking about Goalie Eye Candy. It was the first episode, and it was taken from Joey Daccord, my son. And it was showing puck handling clips.
I was watching when I see him come out of the net with the puck. I'm like, what's he going to do now?
Yeah.
What's he going to do now? He's got 3 options. Which one is he going to do? And it was just so fun that nothing was predictable. Yet his team always knew where the puck was going. Yeah. The opposition coming in, they weren't sure. And it's funny, you can see on a lot of the clips, they kind of pulled up because they didn't know what he was going to do.
Yeah.
And he had some breakout passes that, like, the defenseman could have made that breakout pass. It was just perfect.
You know, it's so funny because I tease Joey. I'm like, Joey, you're my favorite goalie to watch. And the reason he's my favorite goalie to watch is every game you don't know, every time he touches the puck,
Yeah.
no one in the building knows what's going to happen. Like, you don't know what he's going to come up with. And he's got something really interesting that he said. So Joey was a presenter at Prospects. He was on puck handling, right? And one of the things he said was, you have more time than you think to go handle the puck. Now, I think that's full of crap, okay? Because I know when I went to go get the puck, my heart was going a million miles an hour, and it was panic time, right? He feels he has time because he's done it a million times.
It's repetition.
He's done it enough times that at the end of the day, it doesn't horrify him or panic. He's not in a panic when he goes out to play the puck.
Well, I think something as coaches, not just goalie coaches, but coaches in general, the younger goalies, 12, 13, when they start really trying to move the puck and handle the puck, they're going to make mistakes, and you've got to be encouraging with them. It's going to happen, and you don't want to take away that part of their game, that development. It's an important part of their game, and you let that goalie develop and make that mistake, but learn from it and encourage them. By the end of the season, you have a much better goaltender that's going to help your team out with that extra breakout pass, stopping pucks so your defenseman have a chance to set behind the net. Extra time for the defenseman so they can see the breakout established more. So be patient with your goaltenders and encourage them, and the more they get to do it, the more comfortable they're going to be. And you saw the results there. I mean, it's like he goes out and I'm just like, what's he going to do?
What's he going to do?
It's fun to watch.
And that's because he had coaches that let him go play. If he didn't have coaches that let him go, oh, well, you made a mistake and you cost a goal, so don't go play the puck anymore. Well, then he wouldn't be what he is now handling the puck.
Usually, out of the percentages, a goalie that likes to handle the puck, they're usually, the percentage-wise, they're creating more opportunities for their team to have the puck than they are turnovers. And that's what it's all about, is puck retention. Make sure when your goalie goes out to get the puck that you guys end up with a puck that he's not just throwing it blindly, but understand, like we talked about, the mistakes going to be made, but still encourage your goaltender. It's an important part of their development, part of their game.
Well, Joey's coach, Dan Bosma at Coachella Valley, he told Joey one day, he says, I think you get 5 to 10 shots less a game because you get us out of our zone so quickly and so often. You don't get as many shots because we don't get hemmed up in our own zone.
I agree. Like that's always been the debate with Martin Brodeur. Was he really the best ever? And he didn't face a lot of shots. And I've always said, well, the same thing. Brodeur probably limited 5 to 10 shots a game.
He limited the shots because of his ability to go play the puck. Absolutely.
And very, very, like, if you do the math, if you're playing 30 games, 40 games, 60 games, you eliminated 5 shots. You're eliminating 300 to 500 shots a season on yourself. And that's a lot of work. A lot of wear
and tear on the body.
Absolutely.
Too. We're going to switch gears. We're going to go to Colin Wins, Blade Up. So we have a feature called Goalie Tips. And the idea is that you take current goalies, Stop It goalies, and what they're talking about is something maybe part of their game, maybe something different, not the stuff you see every day on Instagram, but just something different, nuances of the game. And Colin did Blade Up.
It was interesting to see how he talked about how it kind of developed over time, and then he's made it part of his style, which I think is what is great about these tips. It's something, hey, maybe you want to try. Maybe it becomes part of your game. Maybe you try and like, well, that wasn't quite part of my game, but I did learn something from it. Colin just said it feels more relaxed. He feels it's taken a lot.
So what it was, if you haven't seen the video yet, is playing with your blade off the ice. So not playing with your stick blade on the ice when the puck's in the zone all the time. It's that blade up. And I like to equate it to a shortstop.
Yes.
All right, or a second baseman. They're not in their stance the whole time waiting for a ball. They're waiting for the pitcher to throw it. As soon as the pitcher's throwing it, they're getting up on their toes and they're ready to go. So it's very similar to playing blade up for a goaltender. You're not sitting in your stance, burning out your quads.
Exactly.
You're waiting till there's the right time where you're going to get to your hard stance.
And it's funny, he said he actually felt more comfortable tracking a puck being more upright. Okay. And he said he felt his legs again more relaxed. He wasn't getting that quad burn. He wasn't feeling tired by the third period. And he said it's just something that works for him, playing more upright. Of course, when the shots come, he's getting back into his stance. He talked about that and everything. But he says he just feels more relaxed, confident, and comfortable reading the play when he's going blade up on it, toe up.
Now, I'll say this too, like, if you're going to play blade up, don't get beat with a shot on the ice, because then it's over, because the coach will be all over you saying, get your stick on the ice. The minute that puck hits the blue line,
he wasn't ready.
I need you in your hard stance, you're not ready. You can't afford, you better be ready.
Yeah, if you're doing something different, you better make sure it works, and ultimately our job is to keep the puck out of the net.
Yeah, and it's funny, like, Colin Wynn is a really good example of gaining experiences as a goaltender. So, you know, he started off public high school.
Yes.
Right? Like, a lot of people in Mass here, so if you're New England people, if you're not New England people, I'll explain a little bit. So we have high school hockey here, we have prep school hockey, and some kids opt to play in an academy, or they opt to go to play in a club program at full season.
A lot of options.
You know, high school public hockey isn't regarded as the highest level. But he was a freshman. Instead of going to a hockey factory that maybe he wouldn't play, he's like, I'm going to go to my high school. I'm going to play. Yeah. He ended up MVP. Freshman, he ended up MVP of his high school. Then he goes from there, he goes to South Kent Selects.
Yeah.
Then he goes from there to BK Selects. Then he goes from there to the Junior Bruins. He was the youngest goalie, I think, in the league last year.
That's right.
And he had 51 games played. And now he's in the USHL doing great. I think he's like 6th or 7th in goals against average in that league. So, but that's a lot of games and a lot of experience.
I was just saying, each league, each experience, he's adding something new to his game. He's trying something. You're seeing a skill that he's either improved upon or a skill that he's added at each level. And that's why he's able to make the jump from one league to the next or one team to the next and be successful each time, because he's always improving. And that's something about Colin that's just makes him tremendous goaltenders. He's always looking to improve, and it's just adding that little bit each year to his game to get better.
And once again, shameless plug because of the Sensorina thing, but he's a big Sensorina user. Funny, when you think about Sensorina users, Jan Peretz and Devin Levi, who just shut out BU in the bean pot in the first game, like, these guys feel so adamant about what it does. And like, even yesterday, Drew Commesso was talking to me about soft focus and hard focus, and how the cognitive drills and Sensorina has really allowed him to be able to, okay, there's my point of reference, but I'm going to soft focus, I'm going to see the play. And he says when the play is coming in, he feels he can see so much more of the ice, which is fascinating.
It gives you a chance to replicate situations, but it doesn't put the wear and tear in your body, but it's mentally stimulating you. It's you're getting so many extra reps, the visuals that you're getting, the processing, I think, is so important that you're going through. Like you said, the different levels, your hard focus, your soft focus, a different situation that you can create with it. It's a tremendous tool, it's a tremendous asset to goaltenders.
Cool. And one of the things I want, before we talk about next week, I'm really excited about next week, but before I talk about that, I want to talk a little bit about the communities page. So down at the bottom of your app, there's Discover, there's Learn, and then you'll see communities. And the cool thing about communities is a way that you can get in there, interact with other people on the app, other goalies, boys, girls. And for us, there's also what's called channels. And the channels is like our discussion areas.
Yeah.
And if you go to your communities, what you're going to see is there's channels such as Ask Coach John, Ask Coach Dak, Ask Coach Robo, right? So if you've got a question at any time for any one of us that you want to get a quick reply, then just shoot, put it on go to your app, go to communities, zap us a question. It also gives you the ability to interact with other members. You notice that logo just left us.
As far as the community and the Ask a Coach, it's such a great little tool to add to it. I mean, you might be wondering about your question, like, do I want to ask it? Do I not want to ask it? I guarantee there's probably a dozen other goalies that are thinking the same thing, and they'd like to ask too. So always get your questions out there. And the best part is we're always happy to answer. And if we don't know it right away, we got a wealth of knowledge that we can go to find that answer for you.
Awesome. So coming up next week, okay, Stop It Goaltending U, you're going to have a new goalie 101, and we're going to be going over the J-hook.
Tell me more about that.
Okay, the J-hook is a progressive skating technique. We did an Instagram 101, like a regular 101 on Instagram, 57,000 views.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a different kind of way to recover using a C-cut from a butterfly instead of a hard stop, a rotation plant. It looks sick. Besides the fact it's effective, it looks sick.
Yeah, what I like about when you see this is the weight transfer. It looks so smooth when it's done. You got to really look at it a couple times and go, what did they do with the edges on that one?
Yeah.
But it's smooth. When you see the goalies master it, it's so smooth.
And so, once again, like, this is the idea of Stop It U, is to take a 10-second clip that went to 57,000 goalie nuts, and now it's, okay, here's how you do it.
Here's how you break it
Here's
down.
why you do it.
Yep.
Here's how you do it. And now you're really learning, because this is what we got to do. We got to keep on learning. We got to stay ahead of the forwards. We got to keep on learning here.
Oh, 100%. I mean, they're getting better every year. I mean, you can see the goals against going up in the NHL. They're obviously doing stuff that are improving themselves as forwards to score goals. We got to figure out what the next move that we're going to do to make us better. That's what I like about the goaltending. It's kind of a cat and mouse game. We get ahead of them, they catch up. We got to get back ahead of them. And this is another tool. It's something to learn and something to maybe add to your toolbox.
The other thing we got coming out is we've got a new goalie IQ. So the goalie IQ is, we're watching on one side of the screen, we've got an NHLer in a clip, and the other side, I'm with a goalie, and we're walking through what the NHL goalie is doing. It's fascinating. We got a heavyweight battle. All right. So we've got John Gibson, two American-born goalies. We got John Gibson and Jake Ottinger going at each other.
That would be fun. What I like about the goalie IQ is a lot of times when you're watching it, full speed, you wish to show you a slow-mo replay. You don't often see it. You get to see it broken down. You get to see it step by step. Then you get to see another goaltender right there in front of you, showing you frame by frame what's going on. And it's a great visual tool. It breaks down the play that happens so quick in an NHL game. It slows it down. You can see every bit step by step, what goes into that save, what goes in that situation, what goes in that play. And oftentimes you can kind of get an idea of what the goalie's thinking. As the play develops.
And then our last thing is, from a premium content standpoint, we've got a goalie extra. And what we're doing in goalie extra, this may sound counterintuitive to you, we're teaching goal scoring. So this is a 20-25 minute video on how to score goals. And which, to me, you go, well, why would a goalie company be doing a video on how to score goals? And I'll tell you exactly why we're doing it. Is because you want to learn what the players are thinking, you want to see what the tendencies might be or what to expect, then you understand what's about to happen. If you know what's about to happen, your reflexes, your ability to react is going to be so much faster.
Well, the old saying, like the stick blade, the release point is basically like a microchip. It's got so much information on it. You better learn how to read it. And the players are so good at disguising their release points right now. They're shifting differently. They're trying to create different angles, trying to use the defenseman as a screen. There's so many different things they're trying to do now just to get that little bit of advantage, create a little bit more open space for them. And absolutely learn how to see and look at it through a goal scorer's eyes, what they're trying to think.
So we're just under 400 users in 3 weeks, which is really exciting. So it's starting to build. This is just... We're at the early stages. You want to be a new adapter, part of this new, I call it the next evolution in goaltending.
I agree.
Being able to do everything that we can provide the goalies, from resources to support to services and community. So we're really excited about that. We're hoping that you're going to check out the new content. You had a chance to look at this week, and then you're going to check out the new content next week. And John, it's exciting to be here another time with you.
I love it. It's so much fun just exchanging goalie ideas. We always talk about. I always say we're goalie geeks and we get to talk goalie. I think I have so much fun.
Awesome. So, hey, have a great weekend. Best of luck if you got games, and we'll see you next week. And enjoy Stop It Goaltending U.
Play hard and have fun.
You got this.